Number 10, 21 Jump Street. In this film, two inept newly licensed cops, Schmidt and Janko, are sent back to high school to prevent a drug outburst. While there, they struggle adapting to the new social standards that differ from those that they followed when they were in high school. The movie is one of the best that correctly reflects the generation's social standards. A lot of the issues that high school students deal with these days are also presented. It expresses the social differences between different school cliques through Schmidt's sudden involvement with the cool kids and Janko's realization of how cool the nerds can be as well.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Number 9. Scream. A killer known as Ghostface begins killing off teenagers, and as the body count begins rising, one girl and her friends find themselves contemplating the rules of horror films as they find themselves living in a real-life one. This film, set in a realistic world that acknowledges horror films, accurately reflects the pressures of youth culture and the fight against conformity. These teenagers struggle to follow the rules of the horror movie scenario they're in so they may survive, but they constantly fulfill their own stereotypes and pay the price. Sidney Prescott's strength and resilience is representative of the acceptance of maturity, but also youthful vulnerability, which is a valuable lesson that every teen must learn.
Number 8. Weird Science. In this film, two high school students create a computer program that fabricates the perfect woman who helps them gain popularity, although she's a lot more than they bargained for. The two main characters of this film do not fit in at school or in most social settings, and are commonly teased or bullied for their personalities and style. While they fight the system and create the perfect woman, they become popular, desirable, and above the people who tried to keep them down. However, in the end, it becomes apparent that they always were the ones on top, and that they mustn't change themselves for anyone else.
The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. An aging aquatic documentarian is reunited with his long-lost son as he attempts to revive his popularity and debunk rumors that his works are staged. The first movie on this list is not directly related to teenagers. This film relates to that demographic as a sort of warning against the road bumps that come along later in life. Especially during midlife crises, human beings are susceptible to depression and vice. This film addresses the possibility and hope of coming out of it a better person despite regrets, mistakes, and public opinion. Not only relatable to midlife crises, but any situation at all.
Number 6. The Dark Knight. When the infamous Batman, Gordon, and Harvey Dent launch an assault on the mob, they let the clown out of the box. The Joker, bent on turning Gotham on itself and bringing any heroes down to his level. Batman faces his most difficult challenge yet, as he is forced to contemplate what he is fighting for and what good it really does. Although the film itself is more representative of the corruption and misconception within society, Batman, as a character, teaches a very valuable lesson for teenagers by the end of this film. There are some people that no matter how hard you try to respect, protect, or please, will never like you. As Batman takes the blame for Harvey Dent's death, he accepts that although Gotham needs him, they will never truly accept him as a hero. So in life, we must accept that certain people will not take kindly to us, even if we are good for them. It's their loss.
Even to a guy like me, that's cold.
Number 5, Edward Scissorhands. In this film, an incomplete machine turned human is taken from his solitude to join society, where he doesn't quite fit in, and must deal with the judgment and deceit of the people around him. Throughout the film, he is initially noticed as this amazing, strange creature with a spectacular talent of trimming with his scissor hands. The town pulls him into their lives and uses him as the spark of a new style in their lives. Perhaps the strongest example of individuality, this film teaches that the abnormality in society is nothing to be ashamed of and must instead be understood and embraced. Take every opinion into account, and whether you tolerate it or not, respect its existence. Edward, by the end of the film, lives alone and is condemned by the community he grew to love, but still lives a happier life knowing that he fell in love. Thus, we must accept the abnormalities around us and embrace the abnormalities within. The intolerant will always lose, conscious of it or not.
Number 4. Inglourious Bastards. In Nazi-occupied France during World War II, a plan to assassinate Nazi leaders by a group of Jewish U.S. soldiers coincides with the theater owner's vengeful plans for the same. Although not historically accurate, nor is it intended to be, this film communicates how simultaneously absurd and disturbing our world can be. It is full of bright colors, clear and beautiful visuals, and at times a very comedic style. Contrasting to this, it is a story of revenge against the Nazis, the most evil group in the 20th century. We do not know what lies ahead in our future, but something just as demented may be coming our way, and our youth should at least know it's possible.
Number 3. The Lost Weekend. A chronic alcoholic skips out on a weekend of camping with his brother-in-law to stay home and drink, engaging in a 4-day bout that threatens his life. The film takes a strong stance against alcohol, not just for the sake of teetotalism, but also to support the idea that one must be happy with their natural self. The main character of this film is a chronic alcoholic and does everything in his power to stay that way because he was unhappy with himself as a writer. Thus, he has lost everything in his life that has made him happy. His work, his family, his friends, people's respect, and most of all, his own. He's trapped himself in a vicious cycle. He drinks because he's unhappy, and he's unhappy because he drinks. Yes, the film uses alcohol as a strong example, but the message is relatable to any other vice in life that may have the same effect. Teenagers especially are susceptible to vice and often exhibit addictive personalities. This film is a strong warning that such weakness will lead to depression. We must be content with who we are, not what substance makes us.
Come on, I need that liquor. I want it and I'm gonna get it, understand? I'm gonna walk out of here with that quarter rye, one way or another.
Schindler's List. Oskar Schindler, a German war profiteer, begins to feel for his Jewish workforce after witnessing their persecution under the Nazi regime, and begins an effort to save as many as he can from certain death. One of the most historically important films of all time, this is a dark and gritty picture of a realism that will solidify this world's horror. It is not a scare tactic, and only an education for adolescents. To truly understand exactly what happened in our world's recent history, unsweetened, unexaggerated, only the facts. It is essential to respecting the world we live in and working to keep it peaceful. As the people who will soon run the world, teenagers must understand this film's message.
Number 1. American Graffiti. A group of teenagers the evening before leaving for college set out to have one last night on the town to remember their youth and happiness. This film features a cast of characters in multiple situations as they try to find closure with their friends. We have one scenario about long-distance relationships, love, one about breaking down protective walls to enjoy a night with a new friend, maturity, one about shedding a hardened exterior to protect someone young, parenting, and one about finding a true home, identity. It addresses nearly every major worry about the transition from adolescence into adulthood. As inexperienced children, are we ready to learn these skills that today's world requires of us? Can we be truly happy with those ideas? Tell us, Mr. Lucas. We're all waiting to hear.
Field car? What's a field car? Field car runs through the fields, drops cow shit all over the place to make the lettuce grow. That's pretty good. Hey, I like the color of your car there, man. What's that supposed to be? Sort of a cross between piss yellow